Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. I'm the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. We help others to grow and nurture their businesses, their practices, uh, with great people across the country. And Latasha is certainly one of them. Hello, Latasha. Welcome.
Hi. Hello, hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So I got to mention this because we're going to get into what's really is a kind of a life-changing thing for you, Latasha. We started working together, and I got to tell this story. I don't remember the exact detail, but I saw you doing amazing things on TikTok, and I think I started stalking you on TikTok and reached out or something, and we got on a call and just it went from there and started really talking about your business and getting you on LinkedIn and broadening what all the killer stuff you're doing on TikTok to just expand that. And something pretty amazing has happened, and I'd love for you to share it with people that are listening about what the transformation is now, what's going on, and how you got connected to these new people.
Yes. Um, yeah, as you have stated, we were working together and we were doing things, and through LinkedIn, and we were doing a campaign and bringing people on my show because I also have a podcast.
Right.
And so we were bringing different individuals on my show to talk with them about how, they handle stress and how that looks like for them, and, different areas like that. And one of the guest that we brought on was Roy. And so the thing is I like to have authentic, open conversations with my guests. So I
Yep.
really don't deep dive into who they are or what their background is. I really like to figure that out when I'm talking with them. And so when I'm speaking with Roy, I know nothing about Roy. I'm just having a conversation with him like I am you. Okay.
Yeah, because we went into Sales Navigator niche, found people that you want to talk to. We were introducing your media channel. Come on, get engaged with you. And Roy came through that filter.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so as I'm having this conversation with Roy, I'm telling him a little bit about the show, and why he was brought on. And, he's like, okay, great. Yeah. And so we do the show. And then after the show backstage, he's like, hey, I'm having an event. And I'd love to have you at the event. And I'm like, okay, great. Nothing new there, right? Because I have that all the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, just send me the information and, we'll touch base about it. And so right afterwards, he sends me this information, and I'm like, okay, it's in Chicago. He just sent me how much the stuff was, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it was kind of,
It's pricey to
it
make it
was,
out and get out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I was like, and it was really close to Christmas, and I was like, I really don't think that this is something that I'm going to be able to do right now because it's like, and he's like, no, I want you to come as a speaker. He's like, I don't, that's not like a guest thing as a speaker. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, so that's not the cost for you. And I mean, very, very, very nice gentleman, very nice. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And he's like, and if you need help with the hotel, I'll be glad to help that, which that was not the case, but it was just the thought.
Right. Yeah.
So I go to this event. And I'm there with all these wonderful, amazing people. I want to express that. Like, I walked into this room and I have never felt like I was with like people I've known my entire life.
Yeah.
And I've never met these people.
Around the sports world, right? It was a sports world.
Yeah, so that's one thing I left out for a minute. Yeah, so I was gonna save that till the end. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
so
All right. Yeah. I'm just ruining everything for you.
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So Roy is like the owner of Sports Philanthropy Network. So of course, not into sports. I didn't even know what that
Right.
meant, right? So
Right.
going to this event, I knew that there was like big sponsors, like NFL sponsors, Chicago Bulls sponsors, like all this stuff, right?
Right.
So I was clearly very nervous. But when I walked into this event, I was with people obviously that I have never met, but they made me feel like I knew them my entire life. They were the most kindest, loving, friendliest people I've ever met in my life.
Lee Steinberg. You met Lee Steinberg, right? This massive sports agent. Yeah, one of the
I
first
did
guys to go. Yeah.
I did get to be, and that's yeah. So I see people like talking to everyone, and you know what I did? Like it's so funny, like looking back, I am a social butterfly, right? And so, when I'm extremely nervous. Mind you, again, I don't know any of these people, but I know like they're where they're at. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
okay, they're in the sports industry, but I don't, so I'm nervous and I'm like, okay. So I go in there and I'm like, all right, I just gotta be myself. I just gotta talk and just be me. And I'm telling you, I went in there and I just started talking and just was myself, and I just went
Right.
talking to different people, and everyone was so nice. And then like the next day, people were coming up and they were like, you are just so nice. We just, could not stop thinking about you and what it is that you did. And we just want to connect with you. And I just saw everyone like there, there was this individual that everyone just kept like taking pictures with. And, when this individual would talk, they would take videos. And I'm like, why? Like, what's going on? Well, it was Lee, right? And I
It
was
was
like,
Lee.
yeah. And of course, me, I've never, I mean, I didn't know who Lee was, but of course I was like, oh, hey, can I get a picture with you? And, finally I figured out who Lee was, right? But I think the point is like, they were, people who's never been around these people, I think have this, idea of them, and that's just not the case, right? Like
Right.
meeting
Right.
them and being in an environment with them is completely not what people like me think that they are. Like it's
Yeah, these are really heavy hitters. I mean, Lee Steinberg, I followed his career for years. He was one of the first super sports agents. And really incredible guy. Has done a lot for the sports world. But people put him up on a pedestal, and others. And when your comment is you go to this thing, you're just yourself, and amazing stuff starts happening.
right. Like again, who am I, right? Compared to these individuals, you know what I mean? Like, who am I?
Yeah,
But they didn't look at me like that, right? Like
right.
I was them, it wasn't anything like that. And they were so loving and so fun. And, so I go to that event and I literally gave it my all, Paul. Like I did. Like I was like, I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna have fun. I'm going to
Yeah,
be who I am, right? Because
right.
I don't want to be anybody else. Because as
No,
I have mentioned to you before, I'm not a big fan of like the fakiness. I don't like that. And so I
nope.
never want it to come across that way to anybody else.
Well, it's why I think you and I kind of have built a relationship, and
Yeah.
we're kind of both that way. Just we are who we are, you know.
Right. Right. And to me, it's more important to build relationships before anything else, right? Because if you don't have
Agree.
that relationship, then you don't have anything really.
Agree.
And so I left, and I can remember I got in my car and I just like sighed. I was like, okay, like that's done. And so then like a week goes by, and then I was getting these calls, right, and emails and stuff, and I'm like, they like me. They like
Yeah.
me. They like me.
From Roy, was it from Roy and his people?
Yeah, like I had one from Roy, and then I don't know if you know like a Rob Ferguson. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I think you brought his name up to me before, Rob Ferguson. He's another
Yeah, he's
major
he's an
player.
amazing individual. Yeah, great guy. Works with athletes, very into the fit world and stuff like that. But yeah, another individual, Mikkel, great guy. But yeah, um, Lee Steinberg's girlfriend, I believe, Amy. Gonna have her come on a podcast talk about her book. But just amazing, amazing people. Sheila, she is doing amazing work with people who have like brain injuries, different things like that. She just like
Hmm.
spins them. Incredible stuff, incredible people. So,
You
yeah.
got brought into the fold, right? They brought you in, and you're now,
Yeah, now
you
I'm going to
know,
be working with Roy and doing different things with him, and going and helping with that stuff, and just learning, being able to learn and see how that works and grow, and I'm so excited for that, and
yep.
with Rob, and grow from there and see how all that goes. And it's so exciting, these opportunities that I have, and I never
Super
in my
Bowl,
life
Super
would have
Bowl,
imagined.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, there is the Super Bowl potential, right?
Going to the Super
Which
Bowl,
to
that's
me doesn't
amazing.
make a big deal, right? The Super Bowl's nothing big to me, but to others it could be. But hey,
It's big.
if I make it there, that's great. But that's not anything huge. But hey, if anyone wants to go to the Super Bowl, or there is Lee Steinberg's, he does have a Super Bowl party, you know. If you
Yep.
want to have an event there,
He's the guy to talk to. Well, let me ask you, the team. So you've been brought into this team, Roy, as what is your role on the team? And you're now moving forward with, events and doing different things. Where have they positioned you?
yeah. So I so with Rob and Mikkel, I am like the health and wellness with that part.
Yeah,
And then with Roy, I'm like his executive assistant. I help with everything.
right.
I help with events. I help with the customer service. I help with sponsorships. I help with grants. I help with everything. Just doing all that stuff. He has a podcast as well. And so I help a little bit there. So yeah, just wherever it is that he needs. He's a very busy person.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So wherever he needs assistance that I can help, I help.
No, it's great. And you and I, obviously we've been talking a lot about this and it's been just a transformation for you. We've rebranded you and we're now really working our way into the sports world, for
Yes.
you
Yeah.
and your private practice. Uh, and yeah, I was blown away by it. And, when you were telling me the story going in there, I mean, I know a lot of these figures. I'm a big sports guy and some I didn't know that you dialed me into, but for me, it was an affirmation of, the right way to do things when you're building your practice is to establish relationships, is to reach out, give before you take. I mean, we had put together an offer with you on, hey, you've got this podcast media channel, blowing up on TikTok. Now you're on LinkedIn, let's have you on. It's a great thing to do. And there's a strategy behind it. And this is how this whole thing came about. So you were doing the right, reaching out the right way, building relationship, making an offer, getting to know people, and then it just blossomed from there. And I believe that's the right way to do it versus, let's connect with somebody, let's pitch them on something right away. So
Yeah.
it's been awesome to see this whole thing play out for you.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love that I have you guys. And like I told you before, like I believe everything happens for a reason, and we aligned for a reason, and we connected like we did for a reason. And
Yeah,
and yes, I think when everything is done the right way, and God sees it all, like everything will happen when it's supposed to happen. And you're not being scamish, and you align with the right people, then the right things happen.
for
So
sure, for
that's
sure.
that is why I believe that we are where we are. And I just encourage everyone to just do right,
Yeah,
because here's the thing that I have seen in the moment. If you're out there and you're being scamish or whatever the case might be, it might work for the moment, right? But people are gonna hear, right? Like people talk, and people in the industry will talk. It's
yeah,
not going to stick, right? You're going to run
no,
out, and then no one's going to want to work with you. No one's going to
right,
want their name attached to you. No one's going to want to buy from you. No one's going to want to listen to you. And then what? Then you're just out, right? So
yeah,
in the beginning it's hard, when you're being legit and you're doing real stuff, and you're trying to just build relationships. But in the end, it's more rewarding and it pays off. So that's what I look for. That's what I go for, and that's what works for me. So
yeah.
it's the long
Well,
road, and that's what I'm in for. So,
I love it, and I just gotta say, when just don't forget me when you're up on high
oh,
mountains up there. Don't forget about me. Paul
never,
who?
ever.
Paul who?
Yeah, never, ever. We've already talked about that. We're going together. So,
I love it. I love it. Well, Latasha, thanks for doing this. I just thought it'd be helpful for others to kind of hear your story. I think it's a great one, and I'm excited to see what's going on there. What's next for you. So appreciate it. I know we're going to be talking again very soon.
yes, yes. Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for all of your help. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to talk to you here soon. Okay.
Okay, we'll
All
see
right.
you.
Bye, sweetie.